Estimating sums. Explore. The first day the ski hills were open, 1,368 tickets were sold. The second day, 1,155 lift tickets were sold. About how many more tickets were sold on the first day? Estimate to find out. So I will give you 2 minutes to solve this problem using any strategy besides calculator that you can think of. Start now. Time's up. Here is one way that you could solve the problem. So I've written, you'll notice, I have the larger number subtract the smaller number. Now, I'm going to use compatible numbers because I've noticed that 55 and 68 are really close to each other. Since they're so close, I'm going to say that these can both be turned into 60. Although 68 is closer to 70, it's more compatible for it to turn into a 60 for me. And it's not that different that it would make that big of a difference. So this would turn into 1,360 minus 1,160. Now, this makes things really easy for me because this 60 and this 60, they cancel each other out. The 1,000 in the front and the 1,000 in the front on the other number cancel each other out. So all I'm left with really is 3 minus 1. 3 minus 1 equals 200. And there is my answer. Now, with problems, remember, every time you have a word problem, you have to answer it in the form of a sentence. So you would say there were 200 more tickets sold on the first day. And there we are. Our problem has been solved. Now, if we move further down on the screen or on your paper in front of you, it says you can use the same strategies to estimate differences as you did to estimate sums. So it's basically the same thing, just you're taking away rather than adding. So the first strategy that we learned about is front end rounding. Now remember, that's taking the front numbers and adding or subtracting them, and then adjusting to make it more accurate because we don't want it to be too inaccurate. So the first one says estimate 3,818 minus 2,079. So it says subtract the first digits of the number. So here the number is written again, 3,818 minus 2,079. Now this number, 3,818, we just look at the first number, so we don't even worry about those three numbers. And we write 3,000 minus, again, we don't worry about those three numbers, minus 2,000, and that equals 1,000. But you'll notice that this has 800 attached to it, so that's not going to be very accurate. We want a more accurate estimate, a closer estimate. So if you go to step 2, it says look at the last three digits of each number. So I've got 818 left. Notice, see that number right there, 818 from 3,818. And I've got, now I put the 0 in just so that you could see where it came from, 818 minus 79. Okay, so we're going to round these to the nearest hundred. Remember what that means? Nearest hundred is this place value here and this place value here. So the 8 is next to its neighbor of a 1. The 1 does not bump up 8, so 8 stays the same, making it 800. And over to our right, there's a 0 in the hundreds spot. Now that might get tricky, but the 7 right here, he bumps this number up to a 1. So 79 actually turns into 100 when rounding to the nearest hundred. So now we have 800 minus 100, which equals 700. Are you with me so far? Now here's the tricky part. We've got 1,000 up here. And we just estimated more numbers. So we need to add this to our original number to make it accurate. So we add the extra 700 to the original estimate of 1,000. Okay, so 1,000 plus 700 is equal to 1,700, and that's our answer. So 3,818 minus 2,079 is about 1,700 or 1,700. Okay, this adding might get confusing because we're subtracting, but remember it's because this had 818 and this had 79, so we're including this on the 1,000, and that's why we added. Next, we've got compatible numbers. And in compatible numbers, as I said up above, that when you're looking at the numbers, you are looking for numbers that are close or similar because we want them to be easy for us to add or subtract, in this case, subtract. So this is our question here. We've got 4,803 minus 310. So if you look at, we've got 10 right here, and we've got 8 right here. So looking at this, I can say that 3 is pretty close to 10. So I'm just going to go ahead and turn this 3 into 10 instead, and leave the other numbers the same. Okay, so 4,803 is close to 4,810. Okay, because of this 10 right here. So now our estimate turns into 4,810 minus 310. See why I did that? That's easy to subtract. 10 minus 10 is 0. So that leaves us with subtracting 48 minus 3. Well, we can do that. 48 and 3 less is 45. But don't forget those zeros. Those zeros are place value holders. So that makes our answer 4,500 for an estimate. Now, you may be thinking, well, what if I didn't want to turn this 0.3 into 10? What if I wanted to turn 10 into 0.3? Well, guess what? You can do that right over here. So this would also get you the exact same estimate. So 310 is close to 303. Remember, the 303 comes from because the other number ends in 0.3, and 10 is really close to that, so it will be accurate. So 4,803 stays the same in this case, and we changed the other number to 303 instead of 310. Now we've got 0.3 and 0.3 cancel each other out, and look at that. Again, we have 4,800 minus 300, or thinking about it, we have 48 minus 3. So 48 minus 3 is 4,500, or 4,500. See how that's the same as this number over here? Pretty easy, hey? So if you understand this and you're thinking, okay, I've got this, then you can go ahead and work on your textbook assignment. It's on the bottom of your page. It says it is page 58, 59, numbers 1 to 5. Please do that in your textbook, and remember to label your page. Now, if you are thinking, well, I think I got it, but I could use a little more reinforcement or a few more examples, turn your page to the back, and I've got 2 examples to go through. So the first one uses front-end rounding. So I'm going to give you 1 minute to go ahead and try this number, 5,849 minus 3,097. Try that, and I will go through it with you in 1 minute. Go. Okay, so that was 1 minute. So front end rounding. So we're looking at the front end. We look at just the first numbers first, but that is not all we'll look at, remember. So we've got 5, and we put zeros in the rest of the spots. And my mouse is going to go crazy. Minus 3,000. Because the 3 is in the front of the other number. So this is pretty simple, right? We've got 5 minus 3 equals 2, and add those zeros in to make 2,000. Then we need to adjust. So we look at the last 3 numbers of, or the last 3 digits, rather, of the number. So we've got 849 minus 97. I'll put the 0 in there just to help you see. So I'm going to round this. Now you don't want to round it too far off because this is not compatible numbers. So I'm going to round just to the nearest tens place. Okay, so I'm looking at the 4. The 9 is above a 5, so it bumps that 4 up to a 5. Bumps it up to the next number, We've got 850. It was 850 minus, and then the 9 bumps that 0 up to a 1 to make it 100. Okay, so now we've got 850 minus 100. So we can do that easily in our head. That's 750. Now we need to add these two estimates together because we did that one and we did that one. So we will do, just move this down a bit, we will do 2,000 plus 750 equals 750. And there's our answer. Now, if you're looking for an easier way to do this, I can show you one. Instead of going through all of those steps, if that is confusing for you, you could do one step. You could just go ahead and round to the nearest tens for both numbers and then solve. So to do that, you would look at the full number of, it's not working. Okay, we're going to change this up. To do that, you would go 5,849 minus 3,097. Make that a bit bigger for you. And then, so you'd round. So you would look at the first number, you would look at the tens place, which is a 4. That 9 is right beside it, and it bumps it up to, you're right, at 5. So you've got 5,850 minus, and then we look at the tens place again. We've got the 9 here. So 3 can stay the same. But since there's a 7 right beside the 9, 7 bumps 9 up to 10, which bumps the 0 up to 1. So that turns into 100. Okay, so then all we have to do is subtract these two numbers. So 5,000 minus 3,000 equals 2,000. 800 minus 100 equals 700. 550 minus nothing equals 50. So our answer stays the same as down below, 2,750. So that is front end rounding. Now using compatible numbers, we can go, we're going to look and we're going to see what will match. So compatible numbers isn't going to always be your go-to thing. It's going to be your go-to when you notice that there are some numbers that are pretty close to each other, and you can see that it's probably going to work really well for you. So in this case, we've got 7,742 subtract 3,458. So compatible numbers, we're usually looking at the tens place, the ones in tens place here, so the 58 and the 42. So what's a number that 42 and 58 are pretty close to, both of them? 50. 42 bumps 8 up to 50, and 58 bumps down 8. So they kind of balance each other out in that sense. So I would change this from 7,742 to 7,750 minus the other number from 3,458 to 3,450. Notice how those 50s are the same. So they cancel each other out because we are subtracting. And we like that. We like easy when we have to think about numbers in our heads. So we've got 7,750 minus 3,450. 7 minus 3 is 4. 7 minus 4 is 3. And 50 minus 50 is 0. So our estimate would be 4,300. Okay, so that is the end of our lesson. So go ahead and start your textbook lesson of numbers 1 to 5 if you haven't already. And make sure you ask questions if you need, but also try to figure it out on your own as well. Good luck.